रोजी बोले मुझे डालो, इससे वाला अच्छा लगा।
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalitam Shri Vishakhan Vitamsham He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Shubha Dipavali to everybody. Very happy to welcome all of you to today's class on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So, you may be disappointed not to see the regular speaker here, His Grace Mukundamala Prabhu. He has joined the Yatra. So, I have come as a substitute. So, please, you have to tolerate me. And today's verse is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 10. So, I would like to read the verse. Tamu vacharshi kesha prahassanniva bharata senayor ubayor madhye vishidantam idam vachah. Since our time is limited, so we are not going through the normal process of reading out the verse and other things, but I'm sure most of you must be having your copy of Gita, or you can always have it on the mobile, so you can please try to follow this verse. So this chapter is entitled Contents of the Gita Summarized. In short, what we are now going to approach very shortly after 2 verses will be the very essence of the Gita. And what is that? That is known as the science of the soul. This is a very important aspect of the Bhagavad Gita, and this information is given only in the Bhagavad Gita and in no other scripture. it is beyond the scope of material science to deal with this topic. But yet, this topic is so important. It is the very foundation for our existence, and it is the thing on which everything we do in our life is based. If we want to have the correct perspective, then we have to have the right knowledge. And that knowledge is what is very shortly going to be spoken. So today I will be dealing with two verses, verse number 10 and verse number 11. And the next Sunday we will be dealing with verse numbers 12 and verse numbers 13. So if you have the Gita at home, please follow it, and you can be following it on your own at home. And so what we do here will be corroborating what you have already understood, and it will make things better. Okay, so now the word-to-word meaning of today's shloka is Tam, unto him. Uvacha said, Rishikesha, the master of the senses, Krishna, Prahasan, smiling, Iva, like that, Bharata, O Dhritarashtra. Normally one may think that when the word Bharata appears, you are thinking that Krishna is speaking to Arjun and he is referring to Arjun as Bharata. But here it is Sanjay who is speaking to Dhritarashtra. And Dhritarashtra also is Bharata. What is the meaning of Bharata? It means the descendant of Maharaj Bharat. That is the meaning of this. So they are all from the same family, and therefore they are addressed as Bharata. Senayor, of the armies, Ubhayo, of both parties, Madhye, between, Vishidantam, unto the lamenting one, Idam, the following, Vachaha, words, O descendant of Bharata. At that time, Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjun. Purport, the translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Purport is, the talk was going on between intimate friends, namely Rishikesha and Gudakesha. As friends, both of them were on the same level, but one of them voluntarily became a student of the other. Krishna was smiling because a friend has chosen to become a disciple. As Lord of all, He is always in the superior position as the master of everyone, and yet the Lord agrees to be a friend, a son, or a lover for a devotee who wants Him in such a role. But when He was accepted as the master, He at once assumed the role and talked with the disciple like the master, with gravity, as it is required. It appears that the talk between the master and the disciple was openly exchanged in the presence of both armies so that all were benefited. So the talks of Bhagavad Gita are not for any particular person, society, or community, but they are for all, and friends or enemies are equally entitled to hear them. Hare Krishna. I would like to read the words again. Tamuvacha Rishikesha Prahassanniva Bharata Senayor Upayor Madhye Vishidantam Idam Vachah. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. Yes. Krishna is addressed as Rishikesha. What is the significance of this word Rishikesha? Rishika means senses. Senses means हमारे कितने इंद्रिय होते हैं? 5. पंचेंद्रिय बोलते हैं इसे. So these senses are known as Rishika, and Krishna is addressed as Rishikesha. Rishika Isha, that is the actual split of the word. The Isha means what? What is the meaning of the word Isha? Isha stands for Ishwara. And what is the meaning of the word Ishwara? Ishwara means controller, one who has complete mastery over it. So Rishikesha means one who is the master of the senses. And what is our position? What is our position? Are we Rishikesha? What are we? There is another word to describe it. There are two words, Goswami and Godas. Goswami means one, Go means senses. Swami means one who is the controller of, master of. Goswami means one who has controlled or mastered the senses. And Godas is one who is the servant of the senses. So in which category do we fall? Godas. So, there is a beautiful verse in the Nectar of Devotion, which is also known as the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which actually deals with this word very nicely. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktiruttamaha. This is given by Rupa Goswami. What does it mean? It means Sarva Upadi Vinir Muktam. Upadi means designations. In this world, when we are born with a designation. You are born as a son or a daughter of so and so, right? That is the first designation. As you grow up, you become a student. So, a student of so and so. You are known by the teacher. And then as you grow up, then you become a sibling, a brother or a sister. So you are known by that designation. And then as you grow up, you become a husband or a wife, you get married. So then you are known by that designation. And then when you have children, father of so-and-so, mother of so-and-so, that is the designation. So this way, designations go on coming to a person. So this is how this material world is made. It is never the same, it keeps changing. Sarva upadi vinir muktam. That means the position by which you can be free from all these designations. Tat paratvena nirmalam. And by which you can be purified of the attraction to the senses, to the sense objects. Sarvopadivi nirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktiruttamaha. The meaning of this is rishikena means with the senses. Rishikesha. Who is Rishikesha? Krishna, who is the master of the senses. So that means it says, employ your senses in the service of the master of the senses. And who is that master? Krishna. Engage your senses in Krishna's service. That is the meaning. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uttamam. That is the actual meaning of the word bhakti. Bhakti means to engage your senses in Krishna's service. But how? To engage your senses in Krishna's service in love, lovingly. Lovingly engage your service in Krishna's senses is actually the meaning of the word bhakti. Bhakti does not mean going and sitting in a forest chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and abandoning all your duties. That is not bhakti. Bhakti means engaging your senses in the service of the Lord lovingly, in love. That is the meaning. Senses must be used to serve the master. Then what happens? Two effects follow. What are the two effects? First, one attains freedom from material designations, that is, becomes transcendental. What is the meaning of the word transcendental? Transcend means what? What is the meaning of transcend? To go beyond the boundary of something. That is the meaning of the word transcend. And from that comes the special word, transcendental, which is generally talked about in the spiritual circles. So, to go beyond the boundaries of what? To go beyond the boundaries of space and time means a person becomes transcendental. These are the things which are binding us in this material world. That is what we have to understand. It binds you in this material world. Are we not time bound? Are we not time bound? Our birth takes place at a particular time, and your entire future in this world is based on the time of your birth, right? The horoscope is cast depending on the time of your birth, the place of your birth, and the date of your birth, right? So, time plays such an important factor in our life. And the time of death, does anybody have control over it? One who has born is sure to die. But does anybody have control over the time of death? No. We all have to die. So we have a particular period to live. And how we live in that our life, that is the subject matter of the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is manual of instruction for life. How to live that life. There is no control about your birth. There is no control about your death. Do you think you are in full control of the in-between factor? We are bound by karma. Then, how to overcome the effects of karma? That is depending upon how you respond to the karma that comes upon you. How you respond to this karma. And for that, those instructions are given in the Bhagavad Gita. That means it actually tells you how to live in this world. So now you tell me, is this only for Hindus? Does everybody else not live? Is this only for the Vaishnavas, those who worship Vishnu? Is this only for the Brahmins, those who read the scriptures? Is this only for the Indians, those who live in the land of India, because Bhagavad Gita is connected to the land of India? No. It is universal. It is non-sectarian. It is for all. It appeals to all. It applies to all. And what is the proof that this Bhagavad Gita is so? The proof is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who took the message of the Gita and gave it to the entire world. He gave it to the entire world and the world accepted it. Why would they accept it? Because it becomes relevant to their lives. Otherwise, they would not accept it. So, the relevance of the Gita is for everybody. There is one shloka in the Gita which explains this point very nicely. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. What is the meaning of this? Janma means birth, mrityu means death, jara means old age, vyadi means disease. Dukkha means miseries, dosha means shortcomings. Anudarshanam. Everybody who takes birth in this world, irrespective of who he is, in which part of the world he is taking birth, what is his caste, what is his nationality, what is his sex, nothing matters. Universally, they all come under this classification, right? There's no doubt about it. So, it is for all. It is universal. That is the greatness of this scripture. It is not sectarian, it is universal. And therefore, it has become a textbook of, as it has come as an instruction manual of life for anybody who cares to read it and who is sincere enough to follow it. Okay, now, Arjuna is representing us in this conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna is standing for each one of us. He is a living entity and we are all living entities. And as I told you, this is a transcendental literature. Transcendental means what? It transcends the boundaries of time. So it is not applying only to the period when it was spoken when Arjuna was in front of Krishna. It applies even today. It will apply eternally. Even after millions and millions of years, the facts mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita will remain the same. They do not change. Encyclopedia Britannica very popular, people have it. But, every 5 or 10 years what happens? It has to be updated, right or wrong. You get the new version. Why? Because what was written 10 years back may not hold true today. But this is not like that. This is eternal. That is the beauty of this literature. Okay, then, when we choose to voluntarily surrender to Krishna, that is what Arjuna has done. In the 7th verse, what does he say? Now we are on the 10th verse. In the 7th verse, what does Arjuna say? Karpanya dosho pahata swabhavat pruchhami tvam dharma sammuda cheta yachreyasam nishchitam bruhitan me shishyas tvaveham shadimam tvam prapannam. He says, I am suffering from miserly weakness. Karpanya dosho. Kripana is the word which is opposite of Brahmana. Brahmana means one who understands the spirit, and Kripana means one who is caught up in matter. So simple it is. Karpanya dosho. He says, I am caught up in material dealings and material aspect of life. Pahata swabhavat pruchhami tvam dharma sammudatesha. I am now making a question to you. I am asking you for guidance. Then he said, now I am going to surrender to you, because I know that with my point of view, I cannot tackle the problems of life. That needs to be an out-of-the-box solution to the problems of life. So, my Lord, please guide me. And so what does he do? He says, now I am surrendering to you. Accept me as your student. And that is exactly what is here mentioned, that only when voluntarily surrenders, Krishna will not force anybody. God never uses force. He wants you to surrender in love, not at the point of a gun. That is not his way of dealing. He wants you to surrender in love to him. And when that happens, then what happens? Then Krishna will speak the truth. Then Krishna will explain the tattva. Tattva means the facts, the reality of life. Then a person will begin to absorb and understand that knowledge. Who will drink water? Only one who is thirsty. Otherwise, you can give him a 20-liter can of water, it will remain as it is. It's not going to be used. But if he is thirsty, he will immediately take and satisfy his thirst with that water, quench his thirst, right? Similarly, one who is thirsty for knowledge, one who wants to know the basic facts of life, how to live in this world, what is the right thing to do, such a person is a candidate to understand the knowledge of the Gita. So that is given here. So this is the key to understanding Gita. Therefore Krishna smiles. What is the meaning of the word prahasan over here? Prahasan means to smile. Now why is Krishna smiling? When Arjuna is surrendering to him and he says, I don't know what to do, please explain to me. Then he begins to smile. So it's explained very beautifully. Acharyas have explained why Krishna is smiling. So according to each one's perspective, they have given different reasons why Krishna is smiling. But each one of them is true. So here it is said. Krishna is smiling because he says, Aja beta, abhi line par aa gaya hai. Abhi patri aayi gaadi par. Understand? That means up to now, Arjuna was trying to solve the problems on his own. He is telling, Senayor ubayor madhye, take my chariot and park it between the two armies. I want to inspect, I want to see. I. You see? And now Krishna is telling. Now he says, I don't know. I am confused. I surrender to you. Then he says, ठीक है. So now you take the role of a student, then I will take the role of a teacher. Same thing applies to us. Only when we have that burning desire in our heart, I want to know the truth of life. I want to know the basic facts. I want to know how to live my life properly. Then Krishna, who is Chaitya Guru, as the Lord in the heart, who is there within your own heart as Paramatma, he is constantly monitoring you. Then he says, okay, my dear, now you are a candidate fit enough to know. And then what happens? Then you come into contact with a guru, an organization where things are explained scientifically, properly. So that is the beauty. How do you connect to a guru? Google search, the easiest thing to do today. It doesn't help. Can you choose a handsome guru or a beautiful guru? A woman also can be a guru? No. Can you just go by the charisma of a person? No. That connection is internal. It is connected by Krishna. He does the internal wiring. Concealed wiring. He has got it. He will do it. And then somebody learns, oh God, I never knew. This is true in my case, at least I can share with you. When I came to this temple in 1990, I was looking for the truth of life. And I never knew that I am going to get initiated over here and I am going to study the Gita. Believe me, it was like प्यासे को कुआं मिल गया. You know, when you are in a desert and you are thirsting for water and you come to an oasis, how do you feel? That is how I felt when I started hearing the lectures over here. So I am sure many of you have come here today. Nobody here is sitting without qualification. Each one of you is on your journey, spiritual journey of life. And at the appropriate time, Krishna will connect you. That is the beauty. And then you understand his mechanisms are perfect. Any accident that takes place, we call it as accident. But according to him, it has been engineered to perfection. For you it is an accident, but for Krishna it is a perfection. Somebody's time to go, and the way he has to go will be decided by Krishna, and they go that way. So see, you have to look at things from Krishna's point of view. And that is what the Gita teaches us. So the smiling of Krishna has got very deep meaning. So the first is, Krishna has got a sarcastic smile. When he smiles at Arjuna, when Arjuna is asking this question. Both sides have sounded the conch shells. The war is about to begin. Suddenly, Arjuna is backing out. Heartbroken, he is doing it out of compassion. He is not doing it out of cowardice. He is doing it out of compassion. My own family members, my kith and kin, why do I want to kill them and have a kingdom? I don't want a kingdom at this cost. No, I don't want it, Krishna. I refuse to fight. This is what Krishna says. This is what Arjuna says. Then Krishna is smiling. Beta, kya ho gaya tere ko? But the world will think that he is fearing. So contradictory behavior. In the Asat Sabha, when Draupadi was about to be disrobed, Arjuna was boiling. He says, I will single-handedly kill each of these Kauravas. I will not leave them. I will not spare them. Yudhishthir had to pacify him. Take it easily. Take it easily. Time will come. Time will come. And now the time has come. And he says, no, I don't want to. What is this? What has happened to you? So he was showing his compassion. So Krishna smiled. Kya ho gaya beta tujhe? Now Krishna was about to advise, give upadesh. And therefore he is smiling. ठीक है. Now when you hear the truth, when you know what are the basic facts of life, then the whole picture is going to change for you. Just wait. Abhi bolunga main. I'll talk to you now. That's what he's telling. Then Krishna smiled to signify, Arjun, you need to be mature. So he was toying with Arjun like a child. Fifth reason is Krishna has agreed. No, Arjuna has agreed. Krishna needs to be by his side even if he did not fight. You know that story. Both approached Krishna, Arjun and Duryodhan at the same time. Arjun sat at the feet, Duryodhan sat near the head of Krishna. Krishna opened his eyes. And Arjun made the choice that I will accept you, my Lord. He says, if you want me, you will not get my army. My army will not be there. He says, it's okay. I only want you. But I am not going to use any weapons. I will not fight. Even then I want you. Are you sure? You want me even when I am not going to fight? Even when I am going to relinquish my army? He says, yes. And then he says, I want you. And then Duryodhana says, my God, I am saved. And then he says, now what can I do? He has not accepted your army, so you can give me your army. And he is very happy that Narayani Sena was a very powerful one. He says, fool number one, he doesn't know what to ask. Look at me, I am so wise. Now, but that time Arjuna made the right choice. And now Arjuna is being questioned, Krishna is smiling at him. He says, you made the choice that even if I don't fight, you want me. And now when I am by your side, why do you refuse to fight? Now he is begging for guidance. Krishna is smiling. What happened to all your confidence? Dhritarashtra was hoping against hope that Arjuna and the Pandavas will not fight and they will compromise and Duryodhana would gain the kingdom without a fight. But Krishna's smile was a deception to the disaster that awaited the Kauravas. Krishna smiled, telling Dhritarashtra also at the same time, your evil intentions are not going to be rewarded. Krishna is smiling that now what I speak will not be for you alone, Arjuna, but for all living entities for all time to come. That is what he says, universal knowledge. So, instruction for life, that is what it is. So now, I will go to the next point. In the earlier times, knowledge was imparted by the Gurukul system. And in the Gurukul system, the knowledge was given by practical example. The students would come and live with the master, with the Guru and Guru Mata. They would live there. They would get up in the morning before sunrise. See, every aspect of life was taken care of. That is the beauty of it. Today's education system is perverted. It is a commercial activity. You pay the fees, otherwise you cannot attend the school. Earlier it was not so. The Vedic culture is, you don't charge for giving knowledge, you don't charge for giving medicine. Today medicine has become a machine for printing notes. It's become so expensive, sometimes people say it's better to die than to get treated. Or the cure is worse than the disease. That is how people feel when they don't have the money to get treated. So, this is not the Vedic culture. Okay? Now, knowledge and values come down only when one takes a humble position. If you take a humble position, then you will be receiving the knowledge from the one who is learned. But if you are in a challenging mode, nothing will enter your heart. Knowledge actually has to register in the heart. It is not an intellectual exercise. That is the beauty of spiritual knowledge. So, in these are some of the learnings of this verse. I will just briefly touch upon the next verse, and that is verse number 11. Ashacho ashochayan anvashochastvam pragyavadamscha bhashase gatasuna gatasuyam nanushocanti panditah. The meaning of this is, translation is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief, and those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Neither for the living body nor for the dead body. That is the meaning. Okay, so Krishna took the position of teacher. He chastised Arjuna. He told, don't be a fool. Don't pretend to be a pandita by telling that I don't want to fight. Actually, you are a Kshatriya, take your bow and arrow, stand up and fight. Even if you lose your life, it is worth it. For what are you fighting? You are not fighting for kingdom. You are fighting to establish religiosity. You are fighting to establish dharma. Dharma means the way in which people should live, the natural life. You should not give scope for adharma. When there is adharma, what happens? Everything, all the natural orders go wrong. A Kshatriya is meant to protect dharma. He is not to protect a king, but he is meant to protect the dharma. That is the duty of a Kshatriya. So he is telling him, stand up and fight. Even if you lose your life, you will still be glorious. Prabhupada went to the MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And there he was introduced to all the various faculties. And they told him, there is no branch of knowledge in this earth that we don't cover. So Prabhupada met and told them, do you have that branch of knowledge which teaches the difference between a dead body and a living body? They had no answer. He says, that element which distinguishes a dead body from a living body is the soul, Atma. And that is a part and parcel of God. That is divine. Where is divine? Divinity. So that knowledge they didn't have. Prabhupada said, I have come to teach you that. That is the greatness of Prabhupada. He never went to take anything, he went to give. Same thing he went when he went to BBC, when he was interviewed by a correspondent of BBC. That correspondent was asking him some questions. And Prabhupada said, I have not come here to take anything from you. But I want to tell you, when you came and ruled India, you took the Kohinoor diamond, you took so many things from there. But the most important, valuable diamond you left behind. He said, what is it? The Bhagavad Gita. I have come to give you the Gita. And then he said, when you came and ruled, you had to pay the armed forces, you had to pay the police staff, and you had to pay the staff who work for the government. But when I am here, your young boys and girls, the British boys and girls, have become my disciples. They are willing to give their life. I don't pay them anything. They are working with their life and soul. That is the difference between spiritual knowledge and material domination. He explained that. So similarly, here Arjuna is being told by Gita, by Krishna, don't be a fool. Try to understand the truth. And the same thing happened with Prabhupada. It was in the year 1922. Prabhupada came face to face with his guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. At that time, Prabhupada was a follower of Mahatma Gandhi. He was a nationalist. He was fighting for the freedom movement. And Bhaktisiddhanta told him, you should actually fight for the freedom of the soul. That is more important. That is more urgent. That is a greater emergency. Today somebody is ruling, tomorrow somebody else will rule. This will go on in this world. But the freedom of the soul is the most urgent occupation of the living entity. Fight for the freedom of the soul. Prabhupada was convinced of that answer and he dedicated his life to the movement. Of course, it took time for him to come to the stage at which he actually traveled and wrote the Gita and preached Gita. But he dedicated his entire life because he was convinced of what Guru Maharaj had spoken. That is his Guru, Bhaktisiddhanta. This knowledge of the Gita comes in disciplic succession. It goes from master to disciple. And a disciple is one who is ready to follow the discipline. That is the meaning of the word disciple. So that means one has to surrender and subject oneself to the instructions of the spiritual master and live according to that. And then the enlightenment will come from within. It is not to be mugged up. It is not for mugging up. It is not also an intellectual exercise, knowledge of the Gita. It is a revelation within the heart. Jnana Deepena Bhasvata. The knowledge is revealed from within the heart. That is the beauty of the Gita. So that is how the knowledge is imbibed. It has to become a part of your personality. It has to become a part and parcel of it has to be ingrained in your soul. Computer has two kinds of memories. One which is ingrained and the other which is stored in the memory. That which is stored in the memory is the brain. That is over at the end of this life. But that which is ingrained in soul passes on from life after life. You have seen small children? Very small children. They play music so fast. They sing so beautifully. It's not that they have learnt it. It has come from their past practices, from the past life, carried forward from the last life. So that is the beauty. It does happen like that. So all those things are discussed in the Gita. What is Punarjanma? What is rebirth? and what is the meaning of death, what is the meaning of transiting from one body to another body. All these things are beautifully explained. So this knowledge is superior to the material knowledge. Please try to understand. And only those persons who have a quest means when you have a question, when have the quest for the truth, then they get introduced to this knowledge by the arrangement of the Lord. It is not a mechanical activity. It's not something that you intellectually have to do. It is something that is guided by the divine force within. And then you're able to connect with it, and then you will feel sense of liberation. Because we are actually entangled in this material world. The first thing that is entangling us is our own body. Our body is the source of so much of misery. So how is it that we are able to come out of all these things? Only by surrendering to the Lord. And the Lord doesn't come in person, so He sends His Guru. He is representative, the Guru. And the Guru will come to you depending upon your desire to actually connect to the Lord. And the Guru does the job of connecting you to the Lord. And that is how the circuit gets complete. And then what happens? Then your life takes a U-turn. Instead of getting entangled in sense gratificatory processes, you become enlivened and you get a higher choice in life. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasovarjyam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. When you get the higher taste, the lower taste automatically falls off. I'll give you a small example for this. A 8-year-old boy was playing cricket with a 14-year-old boy on a daily basis. After some time, the 14-year-old boy stopped coming to play cricket. And the young boy was wondering, what happened to my friend? And one day he saw he's going out with a girlfriend. What happened to that 14-year-old boy? His taste changed. He had become a teenager. Now he was attracted to the opposite sex. So in one sense, he was having a higher taste. And in other sense, so what happened? He lost his attraction for the lower taste of playing bat and ball. So now he was entangled with a girl. So in the same way, in life, we go from stage to stage. And at a particular stage, when you actually are looking for spirituality, when you're looking for God, when you're looking for answers which are very deep, and when you're actually searching from within your heart, then what happens? Krishna is continuously orchestrating according to what you want. He is a very loving father. The father always will try to give the child what the child wants. The same way he is doing it. But at the same time, he is also giving you helplines and guidelines. And what is the helpline he is giving you? Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Shastra means this knowledge of the scriptures. This is the helpline he has given out to us in this material world. And when we take use of these helplines, then we come out of the entanglement of the material restrictions, and ultimately we are able to liberate ourselves from this, and then the whole new world opens up for us. So I think I will stop here, and now very shortly, what is the time now? Yes. No. We got another 5 minutes to go. Does anybody have any questions? Another 3 minutes? Yeah. Yes. Pardon me? Fighting for religiosity. Actually, the word is fighting for dharma, not religiosity, but fighting for dharma. Dharma means that. No, you're right. It is not fighting for religiosity, but fighting for dharma. Dharma means the intrinsic nature of the soul. That is the meaning. The dharma of sugar is to be sweet. The dharma of fire is to give heat and light. Okay? So the dharma of the soul is to love God and to be loved. So that is the intrinsic nature of the soul. So fighting to maintain that is what is true spirituality. That is true dharma. That is the point. Anybody has any other questions? Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I think you bridge the gap between Prabhu, Mukundji, and we, the devotees, with your pravachan excellent. What you mentioned about, the most important issue of Rishikesh, the
Yes.
master of senses. Bridging gap between the various senses is a real issue between the people of our time,
Very true.
especially youngsters and the growing kids and this thing. Of course, this kind of provisions helps us, but what we need to do is most important is that surrendering.
Yes.
If you can give one or two tips on how do we surrender to the Lord without condition.
All those things will come in the future verses.
Yeah.
So what happens is now we have got a limitation of time. So what you say is very true. How to surrender. So that is the subject matter of the Gita. Gita actually, that is why when you begin to read the Gita and when you go from verse to verse and chapter to chapter, everything opens up very naturally. It comes on its own without even asking. That is the beauty. The Lord gives everything in a very systematic way, just as syllabus is made in a very structured way, so that the student grows and goes and grows. So exactly the same way, a student of spirituality who is looking for the truth of life, looking for guideline on how to live in this world, they get everything from the Gita. That is the beauty of the Gita. That is why it is something that has to be imbibed by one's humility. That is the key to understanding the knowledge of the Gita. That is the point. Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.